Hello, my name is Havla Gianetta, and welcome to the 10th reading update for my GoFundMe campaign to complete a memoir that I've been working on. So, this excerpt is also taken from England, similar to the last one, about my 21st birthday. I'm going to begin with a Shakespeare quote from a very well known classic, Romeo and Juliet. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. Have not saints lips, and holy palmers too? Ay, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer. O then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn to despair. And again, that was a quote from Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Oi, Hobbes! What light through yonder window breaks? I looked up, bleary-eyed, in the direction of the cheerful Birmingham accent. All the windows were dark, except for Gabriel's. What was that church mouse doing up so late? You're back, he beamed. Did you have a good birthday? Something about his sunny demeanor made my hapless night at the club seem even more disappointing. No, I shook my head. No, I didn't. It was awful. Gabriel's boyish features scrunched into a sympathetic pout. I'm coming down. I rounded the corner of our house to find him waiting at the front door. What's wrong, Hobbs? He asked. I blinked, unable to say the words. My 21st birthday was supposed to be a celebration of deciding not to kill myself, so of course I'd begged God for something worldly, but special, the kind of gift only he could give. Because if I was going to live on Earth, then I needed something earthly to live for. Instead, I'd gotten a shit show at a club that I never wanted to go to in the first place, with friends who didn't listen to me and drank too much. If that was the kind of non-spiritual fun I could look forward to in the future, then I wasn't going to make it. Can we just pray? I warbled. Please? I know it's a weird request, but I really need someone to pray with right now. Can you just, real quick? I gestured at the small round table in the kitchen. All right, Gabriel said matter-of-factly. He plunked himself into a chair and stretched his long legs before leaning forward. I threw down my purse and collapsed into the chair next to him. I sighed miserably, unsure how to explain. God was supposed to do something, and he didn't. Do you speak in tongues? I asked suddenly. I could feel the cold dullness of depression taking hold, and if I was going to avoid sleeping the next couple of days away, then I needed something a little stronger than normal language to help me. Gabriel shook his head and seemed to shrink deeper into his chair out of shyness. Sorry, no. I frowned, incapable of hiding my disappointment. But go easy on the poor kid, I thought to myself. He's obviously repressed, and you're scaring him. He's probably never even met anyone who prayed in tongues before. Oh well, any port in a storm. I reached out my hands in the only gesture universally accepted by Christians and bowed my head, more out of exhaustion than reverence. But when Gabriel's warm, massive palms surrounded mine, his touch was so reassuring that I forgot we were barely more than strangers. I don't remember what either of us said. I do remember that almost as soon as our prayer began, I melted into him. For some reason, the tension I usually felt when men were close to me never manifested. Maybe it was the separation from my family, or that I hadn't been prayed over in months. But before I knew it, I was weeping on Gabriel's shoulder like a motherless infant, my tears soaking into the dull green pantsuit he wore like a layman's uniform. His broad chest and arms felt oddly nurturing, like a nest I could burrow into while his soothing, rich prayer rolled over me. I cried until I was empty, then leaned silently against his shoulder, relishing God's warmth as it flowed through him and into me. Hobbs? Gabriel asked after a few moments. I started and sat up, embarrassed. What was I doing, clinging to this kid's chest like he was some sort of human pillow? Oh, thanks for that, I tittered nervously. I just really needed... Oh, Gabriel. I clapped a hand over my mouth in chagrin. Your shirt! I am so, so sorry. I got snot on your shirt. He pulled his hoodie away from his chest to survey the wet splotch I'd left there. No worries, Hobbs. It's fine. No, really, I am so, so sorry, I blubbered as I searched the kitchen for a napkin. I didn't mean to. It's all right, Hobbs. Gabriel nodded reassuringly. Promise. I would have been content to sleep in the kitchen chair with him all night, but after the mess I'd made by turning his hoodie into a handkerchief, I couldn't get away fast enough. I offered a final, humiliated thank you, then turned and walked promptly into the kitchen doorframe. Anna must have asked for a double shot in whatever cocktail she'd ordered me. After trying to salvage what I could of my dignity by stumbling up the stairs as quickly as possible, I couldn't help but think how much Gabriel had surprised me. He might not speak in tongues, but he was no spiritual novice. Maintaining such intense focus while someone went to pieces all over him required a deep ability to ground his mind and his spirit. Feeling God's presence through him had been remarkably easy. He's different, I thought sleepily. Very different. And something else. Safe was the word I'd been looking for, but I was too tired to think it. As soon as I opened my bedroom door, I stepped out of my shoes and fell fully clothed onto my bed, never guessing that the answer to my prayers had lingered behind to wipe his hoodie with a paper towel before following my footsteps up the stairs to his own room. Right, that was my 10th reading update. I'm going to have two more before I finish this campaign. So thanks so much for listening, and I will post those next two, or those last two, next week.